What is up, T.O.Gs? We've got something important to talk about today, and so we're just going to jump right in. Because I think if you're watching this video, you're somebody who's really looking for the advice on the topic that we're going to talk about today. And if you look at the thumbnail, you look at the title, you know what we're talking about today, and that topic today is editing. Now, I had a lot of feedback in my Motovlogging 101 videos asking for tips on editing. And I was really generic in earlier videos about what I do to edit, but we're going to get a little bit more specific today. And you know, I didn't want to sit down and do an editing session and kind of get that tedious and that direct, because a lot of you aren't going to be using the same program, which is the program I use is Final Cut Pro. You're not going to be using that same program, so it's not going to be helpful to all of you. So these tips are going to be directed more about just editing in general and how I edit. And if you like the way that my videos turn out, if you like my videos, then this is probably something that you're going to want to listen to. So here we go. So the first thing I want to talk about today is how I use two cameras. I have my camera mounted on my helmet, and I have my camera mounted right here on my handlebar, which is rear facing to capture myself. I try to start both cameras at the exact same time. Now, sometimes I'll get lucky enough and they'll sync right up, right? So that when I'm editing, I won't have to do any audio matching or anything like that. So I try to start my cameras at the same time. That's a really generic, really easy tip for you guys to do. And if not, the thing you can do is to make sure that you've got some kind of noise. Both turned on. Here we go. Let's try this again. Both turned on. Here we go. Let's try this again.
We now return to your regular programming.
Or something that you can sync up. You don't want to just get on your bike and just start going, or even start your cameras after the bike's gone, because then you're going to struggle with finding a place where you can match that audio so that your both views are synced together. So that's generic tip number one. So in Final Cut Pro, once I have my two video files that were shot simultaneously, I stack them on top of each other. Now, I know you could probably take up less room, or your file can be smaller if every time that you do a cut between one camera and the other, you separate the audio, and then, whew, it's windy. I gotta leave both hands here on the handlebars. But you separate the audio, and then you can cut video in and out so that you don't have that stacked video, because I believe those make larger files. So if you're worried about room on your computer, on your hard drive, separate that audio and then work on those videos together. That way, though, you do have to be careful, because if you separate the audio, when you're editing, you might accidentally cut something so that the audio doesn't match perfectly, and that can be frustrating as well. So keep an eye out for that. So I know a lot of you motovloggers out there aren't using a rear-facing camera like I do, but the rear-facing camera is great for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons is you're able to make smoother jump cuts. What I mean by that is, you know, if I'm saying something and then I mess up and I want to just go back to maybe where I was saying or talking on a specific point, instead of it looking like my video is all, you know, cut up and edited kind of sloppily, or maybe it might make you feel like your videos are less well put together, right? If you've got a lot of jump cuts, the rear-facing camera helps so that I can go on a jump cut from the camera that's facing out here to here, and in that way, it takes that sloppy or that messy feel out of your video. Camera that's facing out here to here, and in that way, it takes that sloppy or that messy feel out of your video. And it looks, at least for me, it makes me look better, right? Because I'm not constantly having to make my videos look really choppy because I had to do a bunch of jump cuts. And that's a big deal for me, is having this rear-facing camera with the ability to do that. So let's talk more specifically about editing. When you sit down, you've got all the video shot, and then you're going to sit down to edit. So one of the things I've done to make my editing the most efficient, right? Because you want to spend as little amount of time as you can and still make a quality video, especially if you're doing multiple videos a week. But if you have more time to edit, you can take your time. But still, for me, it's a lot of this is about efficiency, because I could be doing other things. I could be out on the bike for longer. I could be spending more time with my family, right? So to be the most efficient editor here, whew, oh my goodness, you guys, it is windy. Okay, all right, back to the video here. So let's talk about how I work efficiently. My first advice for you guys to be an efficient editor is to do a first pass and just cut out all of the fluff. Cut out all the stuff in your video that, like where I just got blown into another lane, right? I could have cut that out. Maybe it'll make the video a little less interesting. We're gonna go into this little neighborhood right here to finish this out by the golf course. But is to cut out all the fluff. Go back, cut out all the dead air where you're not saying anything. If you're somebody who just does motovlogs where you go out to really pretty areas, cut out the writing where there isn't anything to look at, right? That's my first pass, is cutting out all the fluff, cutting out my jump cuts to make them look really nice, really smooth. And that's my first pass. I don't bother with anything else except cutting the video up so that it's a nice, smooth, professional looking video. Okay, that's my first pass. After that first pass, that's when you can go in and make the video your own. That's where you can add a B-roll. So I mean, let's say you pulled over to take a picture of something beautiful that you rode by, or let's say you've got a specific topic that you talk about. As you're doing your second pass through and adding things in, throwing in a meme or a GIF that you think is funny that goes along with your video. While you're doing stuff like that, you can also do kind of a second pass where you're like, oh, I missed cutting that out. I kind of want to cut that out. So you're really kind of doing a little bit of the fine tuning of your video and getting it ready to publish to YouTube. After you've added everything in, your B-roll, your memes, you might even throw in some your additional footage that you found on YouTube. After you've done all of that, we got the dead end here. After you've done all that, then you can do your final fine tuning, right? You want to just play the video through, make sure that it's up to your standards. If it's a little long, like let's say for me, I try to keep my videos around 10 minutes, right? And if I go over, it's on a video where I feel like it's an important topic or something I know that people were going to stay tuned for. But if you're on a time limit and you want to make sure that your videos are staying at a certain length, that's when you'll go through on your final pass and cut anything else out that you're like, oh, I did say that, or I did see this as I was writing, and it's not super important, it's not pivotal to the plot here of my video. So I'm going to cut that out to make sure that my video stays at a certain length. And that'll be your final pass. And then once you've done that, for me, sometimes I'll go through and watch it one more time just to make sure, right, that the video is up to my standards. Because every video that you put out there is a representation of you and a representation of your brand or your channel. So I'm really picky about that. And that's just me. So you can do whatever you want. But I do one more final pass. And again, if you're putting out like 3 videos a week or more, your process is probably going to be even more tight than this. But these are just for those of you who are still looking for tips and looking for ways to make yourself as a motovlogger and make your channel better through editing. If you're a vlogger and you feel like, oh, you didn't say anything about this, make sure you ask those questions in the comments. If there are enough of them, I'll do another video for all of you. And if you're a vlogger who has tips that are like, oh, hey, this is something that I do that you didn't talk about, and you can help somebody else out who's watching this video right now. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name's Eric. I'm that one guy. And I am out.